Hi everyone, we're going to look at the heart today. I would grab yourself a bit of paper and a pen just to make some notes for when we get back to normal. What we're going to cover is what the main parts of the heart are, the function of the heart, double and single circulatory systems, what they are and what they mean, the structures of the heart, this will be the main meat of the lesson, and the pathway the blood takes. Now, I'm going to be drawing a heart diagram on my board. You do not have to do anything as complicated as me. As long as you've got an approximate shape showing chambers, etc., you'll be fine. But when we get there, I'll explain a bit more. So grab your paper, grab your pen, and let's get going. Okay, best way to set this out is probably a mind map. So the heart is an organ inside your body, and its main job, or its function, if we're going to be technical, is to pump blood around your body. Now, you've got to think of why would your body need that blood? Well, the blood contains things in it that your body needs for respiration, for example. So it's going to be supplying oxygen, it's going to be supplying nutrients from your food, it's going to be supplying sugar to your cells for respiration. We'll link these two to respiration. That energy release in cells that you need for being alive. So that's the function. Now, circulatory systems are just all the different parts put together, the heart and all the blood vessels, that its sole job is to get that blood around your body to your cells for respiration. So your heart is part of a circulatory system, which is your heart and your blood vessels. We'll talk about blood vessels in their own lesson. Now, circulatory systems, or systems as I put earlier, circulatory systems come in two types. You have a single circulatory system and you have a double circulatory system. Singular circulatory systems are more common than you think, but just not in mammals like us. Single circulatory systems are usually what you'd find in things like fish. In a fish, their heart is located just below their head, actually, about here, and they don't have lungs like we do. They have gills instead. So the gills on the side of their heads are their equivalent to lungs. And what will happen is, to get that beautiful oxygen out of the water the fish needs to live and to, get their cells to do respiration, so it's that energy for life, the blood will go from the heart to the gill, to the body, and back to the heart in one loop. It will go through both gills, but it's just going to be a bit complicated if I start putting lines everywhere. So the blood is going to have one loop. Single means one, so one loop from lungs to also from picking up oxygen to the heart to the body. That's single circulatory system. In us, in humans and other mammals, we have what's called a double circulatory system. So we have our heart. Your heart is sort of central in your body, but it's just off to the left. So if you look at your fist, that's about the size of your heart. And if you put your fist, sort of your left fist here, it is in the middle, but it slopes to the left. So none of this myth about it's on the left side of your body. So if we draw our heart about here, what happens in a double circulatory system is you have two separate routes that the blood takes. One route is going to your lungs to pick up oxygen and deposit carbon dioxide, and the other loop is going to the rest of your body, to all your organs. So the loop will go up into your head, into your brain. So there is two loops. One goes to lungs, the other loop is going to your body. So it makes it much more efficient to pick up oxygen and send it where it needs to go. It can pick up more carbon dioxide and get rid of it. So double and two. If you're doing higher tier, you have to be able to link this double circulatory system to why it's important. So having a double circulatory system improves blood pressure. Blood pressure you've probably heard of from doctors. So, you know, old Kevin, he eats chips every day and he's got high blood pressure. That just means that your heart is having to pump harder, having to put more pressure, a bigger squeeze to get that blood around your body. Because if you have a diet that's high in fat and things like that over a long period of time, you can start to have deposits of stuff called plaque build up inside your arteries. But we'll talk about those again in another lesson. The benefit of having a double circulatory system for us as humans is two main things. You have an increase in blood pressure. It also makes it more efficient at delivering oxygen to your cells. Right, now comes my favourite bit, which is drawing the heart itself. So if we have a little bit up here that talks about structures. Now, if you look in a book, you'll find really complicated diagrams that show the actual anatomy, the actual shapes the heart are, or is, but you can really simplify it down by drawing it as a box. So if you draw a window to start with, bog standard window like you would have drawn when you were 3 and drawing a house, each of these boxes will represent a chamber in the heart. This one here, we're just going to make a little bit thicker, and I'll talk about why in a minute. And we'll also, I'm going to use colour, you don't have to. Also, we're going to add on the blood vessels that come in and come out. Your heart is made up of a lot of different parts, but easiest place to start is with these big chambers or these big rooms. So when you have your heart, God knows why, I've done Googling and I still don't quite understand it myself. When we draw pictures of the heart, it's always backwards. You're imagining that this is the heart in your chest. So this side is the left of the heart and this side is the right of the heart. I know it's backwards and weird, but you know, that's life. So the one at the top here is your left atrium. Or if you've only got one, it's an atria. You've got a set of valves. Got a set of valves that lead into the left ventricle. That's a ventricle, but you can look it up. So blood comes in, into the left atria, into the left ventricle, out again. On the other side, we've got the right, it's just the same. So we've got the right atria and the right ventricle. And between those two, you've got valves again. So blood comes in to the right atria, through the valves, into the right ventricle, and out again. Okay, what you can see here now in my magical changing diagram is I've just changed these lines into 2 different colours. They're going to represent the type of blood that the blood vessel carrying. So anything on this side, the right side of the heart, is what we call deoxygenated, low oxygen blood. The bits on the side in red have high oxygen in them, we call them oxygenated. Anything on the right, low oxygen, so it's either coming from the body or going to the lungs to pick up oxygen. And the other side is oxygenated blood either coming in from the lungs or going out to the body to supply the oxygen. In terms of remembering their names, there's no magical way of doing it, you just gotta learn them. This one down here is supplying oxygenated blood to the body. That is your biggest artery, your biggest blood vessel in your whole body actually. It's called the aorta. This is an artery. A and away is how I remember, because all arteries carry blood away from the heart. Bringing blood in from the top is the pulmonary vein. Pulmonary, if you ever see the term pulmonary, that means they're talking about the lungs. So if you have a pulmonary embolism, for example, that means there is a swelling in the lining of your lung. Okay, like when we said with arteries, veins always bring blood in. So you've got the pulmonary from the lungs, vein bringing blood in that's high in oxygen. On the other side, bringing blood out, if this blood's low in oxygen, it's going to need to get more oxygen, so it's going to go to the lungs Lungs we know is pulmonary, and if it's taking blood away, it's going to be the pulmonary artery. That just leaves this one at the top. So this is bringing in blood that is high in carbon dioxide, low in oxygen, straight from the body. This one has a bit of a weird name. It's called the vena cava. Last thing we have to look at then is the pathway of the blood through the heart. Luckily, we've already drawn on the pathway of blood through the vessels, so we've just got to add a couple more arrows. So if we start it coming from the lungs, so your blood's gone through the lungs, it's picked up oxygen, it's deposited carbon dioxide, and then it's going to come in through the pulmonary vein, in through a set of valves, into your left atrium or left atria. Then it's going to go down into the ventricles. That's then going to squeeze and push the blood out of the aorta in and to the rest of the body. Now this part of the heart is very, very thick because it needs to pump that blood quite far. Remember, that blood needs to go to the very tips of your toes and to the very tops of your head to get that oxygen. It needs to all your cells. The thicker wall helps increase blood pressure or increase the pumping pressure. So then that blood is then going to go to the body. It's going to go into your cells and be used in respiration. What's going to happen then is during respiration, carbon dioxide gets made, and that is going to be put into the blood, which will then come out and back in through the vena cava. The blood's then going to go through a set of valves, into the atrium, into the ventricle, and then that's going to go off to the lungs to pick up oxygen. Once it's in the lungs, it's going to pick up the oxygen and come in and start the cycle again. That's it in a nutshell. So what we've covered, hopefully, is what the heart does, double circulatory system and single circulatory system, the structures of the heart, and what you're going to get now is just a little quiz pop up, 10 questions. Pause the video, have a go at them, the answers will come up afterwards, and then I just want you to put your answers also into the Google Classroom document so I can check your answers and see how you've done. Extracurricular work for today is to reach out to someone that's feeling a bit isolated, especially if you haven't talked to them in a while, and just check in, see if they're alright, and I'll see you next time.